Hello and welcome to Collective Reviews. Today we're going to be looking at this way too big Black Series Chewbacca. I'm just going to get into it. So, as I said in the opening, this is a very, very large figure, especially for Black Series standards. So, I'm sorry that my actual review space is not big enough to be able to show the entire figure at once. I will show the entire figure, but it will be in parts. So, generally, this is a really good Chewbacca. This is for Solo, though. It has the different bandolier, and some of the accessories only make sense for Solo. So I say we just get into the articulation and just go from there, basically. So what we've essentially got is a lot of traffic cone syndrome. His head is very difficult to work with because it has a lot of this. It is rubbery, but it is definitely traffic cone syndrome. There's a lot of just hair blocking everything, and it really stops you from giving any real movement. It's fine. You have a decent amount of forward and back, though it's not great. When it comes to the arms, you've actually got full movement. Unfortunately, once again, the hair, he doesn't even get to 90, the elbow, just because of the hair. And then the wrist, once again, there is side to side, and you can get it at some angles, but mostly everything is in the way. It's not a bad thing because it looks great, but it just makes posing this figure very difficult. At the stomach, I suppose, mid-torso, it has rotation. It probably would be able to go fully all the way around. I can move this out of the way, but there is a ridge there, so I'm not going to. That won't actually go back in now, it's great. But yeah, the crunch isn't great either. I think that's actually better than Cassian Andor that I looked at before, but still not great. Let's say elbows awkward. When it comes to the legs, we should have rotation at the thigh, but it doesn't seem like it wants to. There is definitely a seam line there, so I can only assume it's just stiff. I'm not sure on that. But when it comes to knee, a little less than 90, once again, a lot of it because of the actual sculpt, which is beautiful. As I say, I'm not complaining. When it comes to actual leg movement, you can get almost 90 forward, and you can get decent back. You can definitely get him in some running poses with this. The traffic cone is plenty rubbery, so it's not that bad. When it comes to the feet, next to nothing. There is forward-facing pin for a rocker, it feels like. I can't really get this to move much. There's a little bit of forward and back, not much. It's traffic cone. It holds it in place. It's really awkward to move, really. Which, I mean, it's Chewbacca. I'll have him in a gun-holding pose and leave him alone, let's be honest. Talking of which, let's get into accessories. So the first accessory is this large blaster. This is obviously the weapon that he used for the majority of Solo. It has a little bit of articulation in the form of this handle, I suppose, maybe a trigger. I'm not completely sure, but there is definitely something here that moves, and I'm not sure quite why. It's a very large weapon, but it's for him. It looks small in comparison to him. And yeah, putting it into his hand, it's not the easiest thing. I'm struggling here. It's not the easiest thing. You really have to push his entire hand out of the way of itself. But it is doable, and once it's in there and you get it in some sort of pose, it looks right. It's not the bowcaster, which, everyone imagines Chewbacca having the bowcaster. I don't mind him having a different weapon as long as it's just another big weapon. But I don't know, there's something about this that's just, it's not Chewbacca. It's not him. It looks alright on him, and it'll do, especially by the fact that most of my my Solo-related stuff is Solo itself, so it doesn't really matter if he's using a different weapon to what he uses in the original trilogy. Doesn't really matter. It's just a bit awkward to get into his hand. It's a bit Luxem, I suppose. It's just not that great. The other accessory that it comes with are these flight goggles, I suppose. They're used during the heist for the fuel. I can't remember what the fuel's called, but I think you'll know. If you've seen Solo, you'll know what scene this is from. And these are actually quite nice. They fit really well over them. They actually make his eyes look way better, because on their own, his eyes are not great. I don't know if you can quite see. They're not quite right. With the goggles, they look pretty good. This is just elasticated. It goes pretty easily around his head. They're a nice mould. They suit him. And generally, I think I'm probably just going to keep these on him all the time. I wasn't going to, but that just looks right to me. So, yeah, that's going to kind of just stay on him from now on. For comparisons, I have Solo, and original trilogy Lando from Cloud. Episode 5. Sorry. And I'd almost say he's a little too tall. But I don't know. I don't know the actual size comparisons properly. This just seems a bit ridiculous, you know? Especially this looks ridiculous. Because I know Lando is supposed to be taller than Han, which, looking at this... not quite sure about that. But, yeah, no, that difference in height is crazy. And I don't know whether it is actually accurate and I'm just being a bit dumb, but it seems off. I mean, he even looks very, very tall compared to an actual 7-inch line, this being the Siege Soundwave. And I don't know, even like, I almost feel like he doesn't fit in a mixed display because he is so big. As a final comparison, here he is next to the Nendroid Sonic. That's no competition with height. It's like, that does kind of make sense. He seems very tall. So, all in all, despite my gripes about his height, this is going to be my Chewbacca. It's going to be the Chewbacca that I use. The expression's quite nice, the moulding is all good, despite the fact it inhibits the actual movement. You know, I can deal with it having the different holster, and as I say, I quite like the goggles as an aesthetic choice. The gun, I may have to find like an old bowcaster that I have and just give him that, just for the time being, until I get a different Chewbacca, but generally, it's fine. I don't have an issue with it, and overall, it's what I'm going to use, so I'm not going to complain. So, that's it for this video. If you liked it, like, subscribe if you're new around here, and in the comments below, just tell me what you think of this figure. Do you think it's too big? Do you think it's the right size? I want to know if this is just me that thinks that it's way too big of a figure or not. It's just, I don't know. I like this figure. Thanks for watching. That's it for this video. Bye!